Doo-doo. Okay. Can everybody hear me all right? For some reason. Ah, okay. Joke. I get it, Mateus. Hello, everybody. We are back. Sorry about that. For some reason, my mic was not set up properly. Probably has something to do with every time anything happens with OBS, it's different. I have to go and mess with stuff. If there's any updates, I have to go and fix things again. And that's really, really annoying. I'm not gonna lie. But, it happens. Oh, well, welcome, Downworld. I appreciate you coming by and saying hello. We are just about to start. So perfect timing. Last time we got to the... What did they call it? Was the Delaware Double. So the last video we watched last time was the Delaware Double, where George Washington is found in ice. Which is really odd and really interesting that Mr. Manticore came up with this story of a body double where, because George Washington was, the original George Washington in this universe was ill and they didn't want to ruin morale and lose the Revolutionary War, so they dumped his body when they thought he was dead in the river. And, sort of, that threw me for a loop when I first heard about it, but actually seeing it play out and two fishermen finding him in the water was just insanity. But we're gonna go ahead and get into the next one, which is Rockefeller Street Tragedy. Rockefeller Tree Tragedy. I'm terribly, terribly bad at reading sometimes. So, why don't we get right into that? And for those of you who are new, I'm just doing research at the moment. I'm going through the videos, writing out each event in a timeline so that when I go and do my video on this, I can do it in a timeline format where I match up everything that happens throughout both Season 1 and Season 2. For today, we're just going to finish up Season 1, and then I'll start Season 2 next Tuesday, God willing. Oh, hello, Kyung. Welcome. Long time no see. But why don't we go ahead and just get right into it. Start this all up. The Rockefeller Tree Tragedy. Okay, so we know this is in 1937. We know that for a fact. So why don't I just put an entry in here for 1937 somewhere. And this is Rockefeller Tree Tragedy. So you'll hear me clicking and clacking. I'm putting this in an Excel spreadsheet. Just so that it's easier for me to go through at a later time. That's just how my brain works. I'm weird. Leave me alone. So we've got two different things going on. There's the Recollection of the Tragedy by John D. Rockefeller in 1937, and then we have Virginia and Wonderland by Virginia. Hi, Virginia. Well, let's see where this goes. Okay, we're starting with the Recollection of the Tragedy.
During the first winter of the center's construction, the workers set up a Christmas tree just outside the entrance.
Okay, so if you're not aware, in the Rockefeller Center, there's always a big Christmas tree every year. So I'm assuming that this is an alternate reality instance of that.
It was an uncanny sight to see a green fir stand in the middle of what appeared to be a no man's land. But this tree, humbly ordained with strings of cranberries, buttons, and tin cans, greatly affected me. It demonstrated that even in the darkest of times, the American people will light the beacons of hope. I thought it could be the start of a great and inspiring tradition, so I traveled north to Babylon in search of a Christmas tree for the following year.
Yeah, that sounds, yeah, he definitely does sound like the same person. I'm sure it shows that down here for the voices. That's pretty cool. I'll get to the archivist note later. Season 3 is completely different. I'm assuming you're talking about the Nixon verse, and if I'm gonna cover that one, I'm gonna do something completely different. Because it seems to be a completely, like, something completely, utterly different. I haven't looked at it yet. I know it's there. I don't know if it's complete. But if you're talking about the Nixon verse, I don't think I'm gonna factor that in as a Season 3, because he has it marked differently. So if it was a Season 3, I would expect that he would mark it that way. Am I wrong, Mythos? I don't think it is technically a season. I think it's something completely a different story. Yeah, it's more of a spiritual. I didn't think it would be the same thing. So if I do that, I would be doing that in something completely different once that's done, and I know it's done. Cool. I figured I was wrong. Coffee House Crime is a good one. I don't watch a lot of true crime as of late outside of a couple of people. But that was one of the ones when I was really into it I would look into. But let's backtrack since I missed some of this stuff. I'm just gonna go through and kind of just poke around at what's going on in this particular thing. So, in the archivist's note, it says, although primarily written by Virginia herself, the final draft of Virginian Wonderland does contain words and phrases provided by her legal guardian for clarification. Construction of the Rockefeller Center began in 1930 when pre-existing buildings in the area were demolished to provide space. The center's original Christmas tree, raised by its own construction workers, was first seen by J.D. Rockefeller towards the end of the period of demolitions. Inspired, Rockefeller handpicked 3 trees for the next 3 Christmases. 1931, 1932, 1933. The special tree would make its first appearance in the center on the 4th year. So let's put that into our little thing. So 1930. Rockefeller Center begins construction. Original tree is raised by construction workers. So we got that. 31. Alright, let's put... I'm gonna say... I'm not gonna make them all different entries. I'm just gonna do this. 31 through 1933. Rockefeller. JD. Rockefeller handpicks Xmas trees, all normal. And then in 1934 is the special tree, which we're going to learn about. 1934. Special tree makes first appearance at the center. And then all this fun stuff happens. So he says, during the first winter of the center's construction, the workers set up a Christmas tree just outside the entrance. It was an uncanny sight to see a green fir stand up in the middle of what appeared to be no man's land. But this tree, humbly ordained, with strings of cranberries, buttons, and tin cans, greatly affected me. It demonstrated that even in the darkest of times, the American people will light the beacons of hope. I thought it could be the start of a great and inspiring tradition, so I traveled north to Babylon in search of Christmas tree for the following year. Goes up to Babylon. That's when things get kind of weird. Okay, back up. Alright, so this is where we were. And then it jumps over to Virginia and Wonderland. I have some sort of idea of where this goes, and this is where we all get into the weird alternate reality sort of thing. But I think this is probably where the most interesting part of this comes in for me, where you actually see the full-blown, okay, this is how alternate realities work here. If you heard Mr. Ballin, I think he's pretty meh, but sometimes I'll watch his videos. I think he's okay, but I haven't watched his stuff in a long time, and I haven't been sucked to him in a while. So I really have no preference on that. Alright, let's see what Virginia has to say.
For 12 days and 12 nights, Mr. Rockefeller looked for the best tree in the...
Okay, so... Let's Rockefeller goes to Babylon to pick out tree. Special tree makes first appearance at the center.
Forest. How about this one, Mr. Rockefeller? No, it's much too short. How about this one, Mr. Rockefeller?
This is like shades of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. I love that. I love that little childlike twinge to it. It's adorable.
No, it's much too tall. How about this one, Mr. Rockefeller? No, it's much too average. Mr. Rockefeller soon feared that he would leave empty-handed. Then, on the 12th night, just as he was packing up his stuff, Mr. Rockefeller heard the sweetest tune in the air. It sounded as though the very...
Do you guys remember where it was talking about, a tree that sings? Oh, that's really cool. A Little Plush of Virginia, that is very cool. I definitely would not have been able to get my hands on that since I'm not as ingrained in this as maybe Wendigoon is, but yeah, that's actually really cool that there's a plushie for her. But the last time we heard something about a special tree that seemed to sing, or there seems to be music around it, is the one in the Washington Monument. Yep. Feels so unsettling, and I love it. Oh, this whole thing is unsettling as hell, but it is so fascinating when you look at it and you think about everything that's going into here, because there's our reality, there's like an alternate our reality, and then there's the Monument for Mythos universe. It's really... I don't know how I'm gonna put it together. I might have like 3 separate timelines at once, like playing off of each other, because it gets like that, but or this is where it gets that way, where there's like, it's our reality, but it's not our reality because it's within the universe of the Monument Mythos and Mr. Manticore's little, like, everything together. It's just, it's so interesting. So let me pop this in here somewhere. Okay. Special tree after hearing music around it. Special tree makes... okay.
The wind itself had fallen in love. He and his men followed the song and found themselves at the base of a very special tree. How about this one, Mr. Rockefeller? It's perfect. For the rest of the night, the men swung their axes at the special tree. Chop, chop, chop. However, when the sun rose, the tree was still standing.
Because you can't chop it. Can't chop it with normal axes. If I remember correctly, it requires a special type of metal. Yeah, if a tree starts singing, I'm out of there. Cause best case, it's a fae, and they're like dating a crazy girl. Yeah. You don't want magic involved in your life, but this is worse, Mike. This is worse.
Axes had left no marks at all. Mr. Rockefeller was surprised. The next day, Mr. Rockefeller and his men laid 100 sticks of dynamite around the tree. 3, 2, 1, boom! Yet, the special tree continued to stand. Mr. Rockefeller was surprised.
Oh no!
So Mr. Rockefeller decided to hire the best team of grave diggers.
If you can't chop it down, dig it out from the roots.
To take the tree out of the ground.
Probably won't work either, though.
After a week of digging, they told Mr. Rockefeller the tree will be out in 3 years at this rate. Mr. Rockefeller...
3 years? Wow. Yeah, let's not. That's definitely not going to be around for Christmas. I'm surprised. Indeed, Mateus, indeed.
Karl was surprised, but he decided to let the gravediggers work. He would pick the next 3 best trees for the next 3 Christmases.
Okay. So gotta back up. Okay. Back up 1. Back up a little bit. Rockefeller goes to Babylon to pick out Xmas trees. Cannot find special tree due to music being heard coming from it. Due to it emitting music. Could not get it out with axes or dynamite, and is told by digging team it would take 3 years. Fix out 3 normal trees for next 3 Xmas's. Displays. Let's do that. Let's call it displays. And then special tree makes first appearance at the center.
By the 4th year, the special tree was ready to display.
The white grave diggers, not regular diggers. I have no idea. I don't know. And back to Rockefeller's store we go. What does he gotta say? We continue.
For the last 2 years, I have seldom mentioned the tragedy that occurred at the center. Many have taken offense at my silence, claiming it to be the result of a desensitization to workplace accidents. Indeed,
Workplace accidents. I wonder what this incident is.
I have seen enough accidents in 3 lifetimes, but nothing could have prepared me for what happened at the center. For some time now, my friends have blamed the center's original construction workers for the tragedy, since it was their very own Christmas tree that had started the whole tradition.
Why would you blame the construction workers for stuff you did, dumb? Like, what? Like, what?
But the truth is that their tree brought joy and wonder to the public. It was my tree, and my tree alone, that brought about the unprecedented loss.
What was the loss? I'll go transcribe that at a later time.
On a cold December morning in Midtown Manhattan, Rockefeller's men slowly raised the special tree. Heave ho! Heave ho!
It's really adorable hearing this in a child's voice behind it. It's really adorable, and it actually sets the scene. I do very much enjoy the fact that they make sure that the voice actors fit the particular character they're speaking for. It's not just a random person out of nowhere that some people... I've seen in some things, ARGs, where they just have random people in there that don't know what they're doing and don't fit in. So, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of lore, Kyung. I can't explain it to you. There's no way for me to put that together when I don't have the whole picture yet. So the whole point of these research streams is that I'm getting everything for this particular ARG together, so I can put that out in a concise manner that doesn't, like, destroy everybody's mind. I mean, it probably is voice actors, yeah. But, better choices for voice actors. That's for sure. It sounds like... Don't read that, that's a spoiler. I think we already did the Alcatraz thing. That's earlier, Austin. Hi, Cherry, welcome. Yeah, I think we already did Alcatraz. That was, like, the 3rd video. We're at the, like, last 3. Yeah, we're going through season 1, so we already got past Alcatraz. No, I don't. I'm doing the research for it, so I understand the whole thing. I haven't seen all of these all together. So, I don't. If I'm missing something, Austin, then, I guess I'm missing something. But we saw the Alcatraz attack, earlier. Like I said earlier with, Mateus, I don't necessarily, if you're talking, I'm assuming with season 3, you're talking about Nixiverse, and, I'm probably not gonna do that anytime soon. So, yeah. I'm probably not gonna do that anytime soon. That'll be after a couple other projects, probably, and when all that's wrapped up. But I've heard it's pretty insane. Let's keep going.
Heave ho! By the afternoon, the special tree stood tall and still. It was unlike any other tree, having no color, branches, or leaves. The mayor of New York, Mr. Garcia, thought that the tree was too bare and asked for branches to be added so that ornaments could be hung. Mr. Rockefeller didn't agree. He thought the tree was perfect, just the way it was. But since Mayor Garcia...
alternate reality game, Kyung. That's what an ARG is. It's like Marble Hornets and Everyman Hybrid and some of the other stuff that or series that I've covered throughout my my channel's history.
Claudia had been one of his best friends. Mr. Rockefeller told his men to glue some branches on. I, Virginia, watched as the men placed branches on the special tree. I had saved my money for over 9 months to purchase a little star ornament because I wanted to be the very first person to decorate the rock.
Yes, this is an alternate reality game. Arg. Hey, what's up, Zero? Welcome. But yeah, this is an ARG. It's an alternate reality game. Kyung, did you not hear me talk about alternate realities like 5 minutes ago? Where there's like our universe, alternate reality, our universe, and then the Monument Mythos universe, a reality. Yeah. Oh well, yeah, I heard about the everything getting posted in the Monument Mythos Discord. I was not aware until after the first stream, but I'm glad that people are seeing it and seeing what I do. Hopefully I'm entertaining. I try. But what we're seeing is that while the special tree is going up, Virginia is seeing everything being decorated, and I'm gonna make this a completely different thing to insert in here, because so Virginia sees workers decorating special tree and wants to put an ornament of her own on it. Alright, so what happens when she tries to put an ornament on the Christmas tree, guys? We'll find out shortly.
Rockefeller Christmas tree. It laid in my pocket while I watched, because I planned to hang my ornament as soon as the tree was standing. After the final branch had been added and all the men left, I quickly ran up to the tree. But to my astonishment, the lowest branch of the tree was over twice my height. I jumped as high as I could, but still, the lowest branch was out of my reach. I was very disappointed.
No, bro.
I wanted to be the very first person to decorate the tree, but now I had no chance. Unless...
Just because I guess you can consider this a type of mythology, but that's just what this is called, the Monument Mythos, so I can understand where you misunderstood, King.
Unless I called my friends. At once, I began counting my friends on my fingers. There was Helen, Charles, Elizabeth, Alice, Joseph, Elsie, Orville, Edith, Olive, and Philip. 10 friends that I could ask for help. Then I realized that 10 friends, standing on each other's shoulders, could put me at the very top of the Christmas tree. My star could be the first and the tallest.
Should I write down those names? Monument Mythos, Friendos. Should I write all those names down? I don't know if the names of the friends is going to be relevant later. No. Okay, cool. It's just her. I just want to verify, because I don't want to go through the trouble of writing all those names down and then not needing them.
Without a second to spare, I ran from door to door, asking for help. Knock, knock, knock. Helen, are you there? Knock, knock, knock. Charles, are you there? Knock, knock, knock. Elizabeth, are you there? Eventually, I gathered all 10 of my friends at the bottom of the Rockefeller Christmas tree. I told them my plan, to have them all stand on each other and form a ladder for me to climb to the top. My friends understood my excitement, and they quickly started to climb onto each other's shoulders. Ow!
Damn.
Helen had stepped on Charles' fingers.
Kid on the
Ow!
bottom is
Charles had stepped on Elizabeth's fingers.
strong as
Ow! Elizabeth had stepped on Alice's fingers.
Yeah, one is named Alice. Sorry. Spam call. Alice is important. I'll put a thing in here. One named Alice. I'll put that to the side somewhere. Put that to the side. As a side note, one is named Alice. Okay. Is a character in the Nixon verse called Alice? Probably question mark. Not the same person. I'll put it to the side, but if it's a Nixon verse, I'm not gonna incorporate that into... I don't think I'm gonna incorporate that into the Monument Mythos. So I don't know if that'll be relevant for season 2. I guess we'll figure it out.
After many groans and tumbles, my friends formed a sturdy ladder, and I began to climb. My joy grew with every passing pace. Before I knew it, I was at the very...
How are you holding 9 other people up? That has to be extremely difficult, and I guess the kid at the bottom is the Hulk or something.
Top, looking down at the tree.
I assume they're not
My
landing on
ladder
the
of
tree.
friends swayed back and forth, and occasionally felt like it was about to collapse. But I tuned out the movement and focused on the tree. Closer, friends, closer. Then I secured the metal star at the top of the tree. It was perfect. Hooray! Victory! I'm the first! Just then, there was a strange sound. The tree began to shake. Its glued branches fell off all at once, and the entire tree slowly bent.
Oh, we've seen that before. They're built different in the 30s. Yep, it begins. It begins. Okay. As soon as ornament is on, tree, I'm gonna put deflates and starts singing.
Bent backwards.
It's time to go to the hell dimension.
The very top of it touched the ground, forming a perfect arc. It was like a very strange rainbow. My heart sank as I saw my star gently slide to the ground from the tree's top. Bolts of lightning then shot out from inside the arc of the tree, producing thunderous booms. The lightning scared my friends and me. We all tumbled to the ground and ran in all directions, but the lightning caught up to us. I was blinded by a great white light.
Singing all 10 kids hit by strange lightning, but Virginia.
I remember when my eyes adjusted, I was in a field of special...
This is when stuff gets really weird. Here we go with the alternate reality stuff. Wakes in a field of special trees.
Trees, and
we're halfway through this
and
one.
I saw... In a flash, I returned to the street where my friends and I had been struck by...
Special trees is spit back into reality.
Lightning. We were all on the ground, being attended to by other people.
Yes.
I had scratched my legs badly, and I could see that my friends were also hurt. I looked up at the Rockefeller buildings, and I thought that they looked a little different. The whole street looked...
Reality and notices everything looks different. I'm gonna get this. I looked up. I'm gonna get this quote because I can. I looked up at the Rockefeller buildings and I thought that they looked a little different. The whole street looked a little different because it's a different reality, Chica.
Looked a little different, and the special tree was nowhere.
And the special, because it's not in that reality, tree was nowhere in sight. As far as I know. As far as I know, it's not in this reality. I don't know. I could be wrong here. Could be wrong. Probably am wrong. Oh well.
It is only natural for the reader.
Oh, I know there's more than one trees. I was in a field of special trees. It's just so weird. Okay.
At this point, to wonder why the incident has been referred to as a tragedy. There had been no loss of life, and, aside from a few temporary scorch marks on the center, no damage to the surrounding property.
Scorch marks. Scorch marks found around the center, but nobody was injured or died, as far as I know. As far as they know.
Assumed it was a mostly inconsequential event, likely an electrical accident whose effects were exaggerated by the
electrical incident. Right.
Children at the scene. I was grateful that every life involved had been spared. A death at the center would have weighed heavily on my mind for some time. But when I encountered the results of the children's medical examinations, I wished that death had occurred in place of the unfathomable.
Those are the kids, I'm assuming. ominous. That's ominous.
My mom and Pa visited me at the hospital, but they looked completely different. Ma looked worried. After she wiped her tears...
Oof. Virginia notes her parents looked different. She was mention a bear being hung instead of a star.
Tears, she asked, "Did you hang your bear at the Rockefeller tree?" I answered, "It wasn't a bear. I was going to hang a star." To which they asked, "What do you mean?"
What do you mean?
Pa asked, "Where did you get these clothes?" I
Remark that her clothes are different.
answered, "These are my clothes, the ones you helped me put on this morning." To which they asked, "What
What
do
do
you
you
mean?"
mean?
My ma then asked, "Why are there dots
Dots
all over your face?"
Remark that she has freckles. Actually, I'll make that another entry. I'll make that another entry for this particular thing. Insert. Oh, it's her parents. When they visit her at the hospital, they mention the following. They mention the following. A bear was being hung instead of a star. Her clothes are different. She has freckles. What else do they remark that's different?
I answered, "Those are my freckles. I've had them since I was little." To which they asked,
What do you mean?
My parents quietly left my bed and talked to my friend's parents. Then they all started to cry and yell. The nurses made them leave, which made me feel better. None of us thought that our real parents had visited, but they all did.
Oh, so even the other kids. Other 10 children remark that these aren't their real parents visiting them. So they're kind of sort of important, but they're not the most important. Let's see if you guys are saying anything. Reminds me of the Walton Files. Yeah? Possibly. I'm not sure I've watched the Walton Files or I'm familiar, but I'll believe you. I might put it on my little list of things to look at.
Feel familiar. Orville and Philip were especially shaken. They didn't even share the same last name with their...
Oh, wow. Sitting them... Or 2 of the 10 other kids didn't have the same last name as parents. That's very weird.
The nurses tried to convince us that those who had visited us were our parents, and that we would come around to properly greet them after we healed. But it was hard to believe.
That is
Whenever I looked out the window,
very unsettling. I would be extremely unsettled if my parents showed up and they said that I didn't look like I was supposed to, and I don't recognize them.
I saw that Manhattan looked different from memory. Mr. Rockefeller himself was kind enough to visit us in the hospital. He asked us whether we were okay, and then after some time, he and the nurses began to ask us some very easy questions.
Oh, Lord. J.D. Rockefeller visits the children at the hospital and asks them questions about... Okay, so I'm gonna do Rockefeller alt our reality question marks 1934. Sorry, I'm typing to try and get this as clear and concise as possible for myself when I go back to this. Okay, so they start asking about American history. Showing there are massive discrepancies.
About American history. With every reply, they would chuckle and shake their heads. Until I told Mr. Rockefeller who I thought—
Look at what picture? Which picture? This one here? Yeah, there's Lincoln, there's 1786. Is that what you're talking about? The 1786 thing? We've got Washington, the apple tree. I'm assuming that's Lincoln. 1786? Is there like a difference in... Is that what I'm missing? Mateus? Waiting to see. Yeah, there's the three things here. Are you talking about the 1786? Yeah, so the only... I don't know about the bowler hat being that big of a thing. I don't know what the top hat... Ah. So this is the other reality or something. I guess I'll put that in notes. Note. Rockefeller says Washington chopped down an apple tree. I'll make this bigger so it doesn't look really dumb. Instead of a cherry tree, Lincoln wore a bowler hat instead of a top hat, and on Declaration of Independence was signed in 1786 and not 1776. So is this in like I think I'm confused as to how is this like an alternate reality? Cuz I don't totally understand if this because there's our reality. Oh, okay, so she got sent from... Okay, so I just gotta change that in my little thing. Okay. I can do that. Let's do this very quickly. Because this is more... This works here a little bit more. Alt, our reality is that one there. So I'm assuming that's the monument. Monument. 1786. Independence is signed. So I'll keep the other two. I don't think the other two are necessarily like the most... I don't think I could really put those into there. There's just interesting little... Of a top hat. Okay, there's that. Not sure how I don't think I could really work that in there. Sent to is the reality where... I mean, Washington comes up later. Well, yeah. Washington technically already came up with the Delaware double, I'm sure. Unless he comes up again. With the body... Or are you talking about the body double? Y'all getting me so fucking confused. I'm not gonna lie. This is so confusing. Don't fight in the chat, y'all. It's fine. I'm just getting very confused. That's all.
Ralph was kind enough to visit us in the hospital. He asked us whether we were okay, and then after some time, he and the nurses began to ask us some very easy questions about American history. With every reply, they would chuckle and shake their heads, until I told Mr. Rockefeller who I thought he was. He chuckled at first, and then became silent, as if the simple fact had deeply affected him. He had asked all my friends a few more questions about himself, and with each answer, he seemed a little more scared. Mr.
I think I can
quietly
remember something about Mr. Rockefeller being very different. I don't remember exactly what the difference was. I'm assuming we'll be told from Rockefeller's perspective, but I'm not totally sure.
stood with the nurses for a while, before he wished us a Merry Christmas and left. That evening, the nurses took x-rays of us to make sure we hadn't broken our ribs. Usually, those taking the x-rays are more than happy to show their patients what the pictures looked like. And when I asked to see them...
So let's clarify what I've gone through. So I'm gonna show you the this is the playlist that Mr. Manticore has provided. I've already gone through Liberty Lurker, Rushmore Revenge, Alcatraz, Dean Democracy, Air Force Angel, Lincoln Looker, Washington Wormhole, Delaware Double, and now I'm working on Rockefeller Tree Tragedy. This is the order that he put it in. So if you're talking about something that happens in here, I've already gone through that. Just so that we're up to speed, because I know there are people that are coming from the Monument Mythos Discord that didn't see. No, it came before. That was the last one we did, so okay, that makes sense. Now you're aware of where we're at, Austin. That's why I was saying that we've already done Alcatraz earlier, but now you're aware of where we're at. So after this is Canyon Crown and Freedom Faller. Sorry, I have very terrible. I'm not very good at reading sometimes. I apologize.
The nurses ignored me. I didn't fall asleep that night. I kept my ear close to the wall to hear what the nurses were saying next door.
The nurses saying?
I heard one sentence over and over. Everything's backwards.
Everything is backwards. Everything's backwards. I think if I remember from Wendigoon's video, like all their internal organs are backwards and whatnot. That's
I wonder what they
so
meant by that. I never told my friends, because I didn't want to scare them. But I spent the rest of the night with my hands to my chest, wondering if my heart was ever on the right side.
That is like the creepiest little thing. I don't like that. I don't like that.
For several weeks, the children were kept under observation at the Columbia Presbyterian Hospital. I visited them as soon as I had the chance to. All the families of these children were deeply unsettled, for they had all independently come to the conclusion their child had been replaced by a doppelganger. They claimed that these new sons and daughters possessed substantial differences from their real children. The majority of differences involved altered physical attributes and the inability to recognize familiar locations and characters, such as their parents and their homes. Two boys even claimed to have names different to those that their mothers had given them at birth. But of all the discrepancies, the most bizarre was their faulty recollections of notable persons and events. For instance, each of the affected children claimed that I had become the wealthiest man in America.
Here's where that comes. Okay. JD, Rockefeller. Discrepancies. Because that's a little important here.
Through an oil monopoly. It is common knowledge that I did indeed work at an oil refinery in my youth.
Was president of the U.S. for 2 terms instead of an oil tycoon. That's one big one.
But to entirely deny my 2 terms as president and insist instead that I had always been a mere philanthropist struck me as being particularly odd. The families were agonized by the children's behavior. Some continue to search for their real children. I support their endeavors, for I do not believe that the children's afflictions were the results of hysteria. Every day, I find myself recollecting the day that I had selected the tree. I have since realized the difficulties involved in the removal of it should have repeatedly discouraged me. And had I been discouraged...
That should have been a big old freaking red flag, but it wasn't.
The families of those children would not be experiencing the anguish that they currently have. Perhaps I never had the opportunity to select another tree. Perhaps I was meant to select that tree regardless of my persistent character. Perhaps we are all trolleys, forced to follow the path of the track to each of our destinations. I take solace in that thought. Or perhaps the tree chose me.
Probably. Yeah, that's... Many, including my father, believe that the 1934 Christmas tree vanished. This is untrue. I have seen it wandering in the plaza on many occasions, and it resembles man far more than any tree. Ooh, boy. So add that. Many, including my father, believe that the 1934 Christmas tree vanished. This is untrue. I have seen it wandering in the plaza on many occasions, and it resembles a man far more than any tree. Yikes. Trees walking around as a dude now, as a human being. Didn't know trees could do that. Then again, this is the special tree. John D. Rockefeller Jr. J.D. Rockefeller Jr. And I think that's the end of this one. Oh, there's something else. Oh. Tree. I want to know how. Is that the tree? I think it is. Oh, I see you. Yep, that's it. Let's go to the next one, which is Crown Canyon. Okay. I'm not sure when I'm going to mute that. When was this put together? This one put together. I'm gonna make something down here. I wish I could do this when I first watched the Mythos, compiling files about characters and events. I absolutely love the flowchart databases and just need to be organized. If I'm not, I'm organized. When's the next you do a game? I don't know, Kyung. I just basically stream when I'm able. I don't get a lot of time lately, and I don't feel much up to streaming gaming lately. It just really hasn't caught my interest. I've got a lot going on, and I'm mostly doing these research streams because I have to go through these anyways, and I figured it'd be more fun to do it with people kind of seeing where my process is, and it's more fun to like discuss with people in the chat because they could see some stuff that I don't. So I don't know when my next thing is. Yeah, I know, Austin, but I muted anyways because the first stream I did get a copyright claim. So they ended up releasing it, but I did get a copyright claim for the first one, and I just don't want to deal with it again. So, let's not chance it. Especially when I see that down there, I definitely don't want to mess with it. But to answer your question, Kyung, I don't know when I'm going to do another gaming stream. I might not. I don't know. It depends on how I'm feeling and when I feel like doing one. So I can't give you an actual answer on that. Alright. Canyon Crown. I'm actually excited to see the giant head. I don't know if that's in this season or the next one. This might be this, actually. I don't know. But giant head is creepy. Alright, put that here, because I don't know when this is. 2 cameras were used. This is Archivist notes. 2 cameras were used during the Arnoldson's trip. A professional photography camera and a one-time use video camcorder. The inexpensive camcorder produced low-quality clips, which were further degraded by the stabilizing effects added with Maze Movie Maker. Nice. Yes, please, if you know the date is for this, I would love that information so I can know where to put it in the flowchart or in my little timeline. Austin. $2009? Okay, I will pop it in there. 2009, so in between Alcatraz attack thingy and there. I may have stuff wrong by the time I do this full video, but if that's the case, then oops, I'm just putting it together as best I can with my research. And from what I'm seeing in here, I'll have to go through everything all over again and kind of try to paste things together. Like, try to put together the Alcatraz attack stuff was kind of yikesy, but I'm doing as best I can. Alright, this is a shorter one. This is only 4 minutes, so I should probably be able to get to this faster? I'm assuming this is I think this is, yeah, this is the Grand Canyon, okay. Arnold Son's trip. Take a family trip to the Grand Canyon. And record events. Alright. What do we see? What do we see? Watch Harmony and Horror after you finish the Monument Mythos. I've got way too much going on right now, Renegade, but I'll put it on the list. Me and my brother. Back. This is me and my brother or something. I missed it. Oh well. Oh well! Me and my brother deep in thought. Wow. Beautiful. I've never been, but I should at some point go see the Grand Canyon. He's gonna fly. This is adorable. Just so you know, 2003 events are all... Yeah, I have that already together. They all seem similar weeks, but there's some stuff that was in some of the videos that I kind of put in different places, like where Alcatraz is at certain points. So that's where I kind of got a little muddy. Then I saw something really weird. Okay, here we go. It's when the fun part happens, I'm assuming. And here's a clip. Is this what the giant head is? Giant head! Oh. ¿Qué es eso? It made a whole place smell like vinegar. Let's add that. Something is seen flying in the sky that made everything smell like vinegar. Oh, that humming is so weird. That's really weird. Rock on. That is so weird. Humming can be heard in the clip. So weird. I saw it again. What the fuck is that? What is that? It's like somebody peeking at you. creepy. Looked like a big head. Second clip looks like a body without a head, and then a giant head appears. Creepy. I hate it. Bonus stuff. Sheer cliff, control your children and pet. Oh no, we're gonna die. I love the fact that it's just like, it's all happy-go-lucky, Mr. Squirrel, and then there's like these little clips in between that are just so absolutely freaky. This is so fascinating. I'm just so curious on how he made all of these. We did a little research and found out what we saw is called a canyon gallon or canyon crown. Canyon gallon, canyon crown. Oop, let's do little notes on this. It uses vinegar to shrink its huge head back to its body. Uses vinegar to shrink head back into body. Ooh, yeah, that's not scary at all. Not scary at all. Dad said the reason we went on this trip so we can find his sister Maya. Went on trip to find his sister, find aunt, I'm gonna say aunt Maya, dad's sister. I remember Wendigoon saying that Maya is somebody else that was in something else. Let me see if that name pops up anywhere. Maya. Oh, Maya the Lincoln Looker. That's what it was. That's the possible thing there. Okay, so possibly. Maya is the person that was Yep. Lincoln Looker. There we go. I got it. Yeah, buddy. Hi Fern. Hi XJ Fly Gamer. Welcome. Yeah, I knew I remembered something about that. Name. Same name too, yeah. That is insanity. There's some more lore there for you, ladies and gentlemen. The Lincoln Looker, or the person that was, supposed to be the Lincoln Looker for was the Lincoln Looker for 2 weeks, was misidentified by, what was it? Reagan? I don't know if that was his first or second term, I don't know for sure, but one of the terms that Reagan was in office, picked up Maya Arnoldson, put her in Lincoln as the Lincoln Looker for 2 weeks, realized it wasn't the right person to let her go, and now she's a Lincoln Looker. So I don't know how that happened, but there's some more lore. There's some more lore. Yeah, I think that was Maya. That is the creepiest thing I've ever seen in my life. No, it's not, but it's very creepy. It's very creepy. Oh, that is so creepy. That is weird beyond belief to me. Head off trail. Thanks for watching. Crazy Canyon Adventure, Lauren Arnoldson. Okay, let's put that in there. Lauren Arnoldson. Laura Arnoldson and the Arnoldson family take a trip okay, cool. Saving. Last one. Freedom Faller. This is one I've seen. Excerpt from a series of exchanges from 1858. So, I've seen bits and pieces of this one. I have. But I'm not the most... I watched it more so, like, skipping through it with my husband. 1858. The archivist note says, to minimize geographical disorientation, the Monarcha's route was simulated with a contemporary map from our timeline. The modern-day borders of European countries were widely known. In regards to Freedom's metal eyelids, as mentioned in Nina Crawford's journal, it is believed that the child was familiar with the term plaster and instead named the most durable material she knew of, metal. Keep that in mind. I know that some parts of this is kind of weird. Oh, the ending is gonna be wacky for real, for real. This one is absolutely horrifying from what I remember from it, from what I understand about it. Have a good night, Cherry. Thank you for coming by. About not feminism. Okay. Have a good night, Cherry. Thank you for stopping by. Blech. Can't talk. But looks like there isn't any weird music involved, so I'll go ahead and let this play. I'm gonna be typing out what is said in here, so I apologize. Thomas and... Okay. So I'm assuming that this is what he says, and anything that pops up here is what he says, right? Conversation between Freedom architect and engineer. I'm gonna assume Thomas I'll just do it this way so I can understand what I'm doing. Thomas U. Walter and Montgomery Meigs. And I'm just going to refer to them by their last names when I do the back and forth. Walter, liberty must stand on the Capitol dome. I'm going to assume that that's Walter speaking. Freedom Faller. Ed Dwight Paradox. I haven't seen that one, so don't spoil it for me, Austin. Don't spoil it! Freedom is a faller, indeed. Indeed. Thank you. Alright. Let's see what's next. Okay, yeah, so I'm right. I'm gonna go with that as what's going on. Meigs. Yes. I will find an artist to bring the statue to life. Okay, so there's that. Conversation between Meigs and sculptor Thomas Crawford. Meigs, would you provide a design for this statue? I don't know if this all matters, but I like to write down the interview stuff. I may go back and get the line by line stuff for everybody else, but I don't know just yet. Most certainly. And these are the different designs: Freedom 1, Freedom 2, Freedom 3. Freedom 3 will do, but change her cap. Meigs. Like, this is the weirdest part for me. Weirder than anything else is this one. And it's the last bit of it, so it's a perfect little, it is a perfect cap to the first season, in my opinion. We'll remove the cap and begin to cast. Shit's about to get real, y'all. Once I get through these conversations. Six weeks later. 6 weeks later. Okay, who's it between? Alright. I'll put the 6 weeks later in there, because I can. Crawford. Freedom is difficult to cast. Apologies for delays. Obviously, there's some delays in here. Three weeks later. I think that's important, so I'm just transcribing. Weeks. Is Freedom on her way? No answer. Okay. So this is gonna be a conversation between Meigs and Detective Alfonso Safino. Inspector. Speaking. Mr. Crawford passed away. Monarcha will receive freedom. Expect arrival in a month. That's not good. I wonder why he's suddenly dead. I wonder why he's suddenly freaking dead. Oh, that's in. Oh, it's Nixonverse, so I won't even touch that for a long time. Okay. Let's play. Let's see what else we got for this. So this is 5 April. This is interviews. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pop in here. It's gonna be 5. I'm assuming 5 April 18. April 5 18 58. I'm assuming. Nina Crawford journal entry. Papa sketches for freedom are, or Papa's, I'm sorry, I can't read. Papa's sketches for freedom are beautiful. She looks like Mama if she was a queen. That's cute. It gets very not cute later. I asked Papa if he could make a statue that looks like me. He said yes. Let's not, baby girl. Alright. Next entry, April 10th. Freedom Filer Monument. April 10. 1958. Papa went to his studio today. I asked whether he started working on my statue yet, and he just... This gets really dark really fast. Kept smiling. I think he is. Papa is very kind. Oh, this is gonna get creepy, y'all. It really is. 3 days later. April 13th, 1858. Another entry. Papa, we have not heard from Papa. Papa dead. He fucking died for a few days. This has happened before since he likes to work at his studio for a long time. For 3 days though. But Mama is very worried today. Yeah, because your dad is... I'm not gonna spoil it if anybody hasn't seen this stuff. Not gonna spoil it. I'm not gonna spoil it. I want to, but I'm not going to. All these little cave paintings. They're great. She left for the studio after she tucked me into bed. Okay, I gotta add that in. She left for his studio after she tucked me in bed. 2 days later, April 15th. No bueno. No bueno. Mama returned returned home tonight. So she was gone for like 2 days. Went straight to her room. She gone for like 2 days? Yeah. Next day. Next day. Freedom Faller. This is gonna be bad, guys. It really is. It's gonna be very, very bad. Inspector Fino came by today. He asked us about Papa and then went to Mama's room. A few moments later, more men showed up. Mama was crying. She kept yelling. This is where it gets dark, y'all. It's gonna get dark. She has his eyes. She has his eyes. I wonder what that means. I was scared. I ran out the house. Lei ha I suoi occhi. Ero spaventata. Sono scappata via dalla casa. 18 aprile. Insert. Put another one in here. Do the same thing. So, a couple days later. I remember Papa telling Mama about how the statue would be put on a ship named Monarcha. Went to the docks and found her anchored nearby. Next to the ship were some boxes. And what do you think she's gonna do with those boxes, ladies and gentlemen? Parts of freedom were in each of the boxes. I crawled into a box that was empty. I hope to be sent to where Papa is. I'm gonna pause and see what the chat says here. I'm gonna pause. See what chat says here. Season 2 has some interesting things about the thing that killed Crawford. Sorry if you consider that a spoiler. I don't think it is. Just a mention, but I'm sorry if I spoil anything on accident. She has his eyes. Yeah. Yeah. Big ol' yikes. Big ol' yikes. It's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse. I feel his spirit around freedom. Yeah, she shipped herself.
Mi sono intrufolata in una scatola di lavoro. Spero che venga mandato dove sta
She shipped
partendo.
herself out
Sento il suo spirito vicino alla libertà. 21 aprile.
with it. She put herself in a box so that she can be shipped out with freedom. Alright, 3 days later. I would be hungry too, girl. I'd be hungry too. I mean, more than hungry. I'd be pissed. I am very hungry. I would be too. The boxes are tied with rope, so I can't... Yeah, you trapped. And not get out by myself. There is a loud noise in the room, like clay being dragged across the floor. Imagine that sound. I would be crapping my
Le
pants.
scatole sono legate con una corda, quindi non posso uscire da sola. C'è un forte urlare nella stanza, come dell'argilla pressionata per il pavimento. Posso sentire le corde che...
I can hear the ropes being cut and something big coming out of the box. Is it Papa? No. There are more sounds like wood being broken. That's not Papa, hun. I'm sorry.
È qualcosa di grosso
It's
uscire dalla
not
scatola.
Papa.
È Papino. Ci sono molti altri suoni.
No, it's
come
Papin.
il silenzio. Dopo che le corde sono rotte,
No, it's Papin. No, it's Papin. Since the ropes broke, I quickly got out of the box and found some bread and fruit in the room next door. Oh, she must have chowed the F down on that.
sono sciventata dalla scatola ed ho trovato del pane e della frutta nella stanza accanto. Mi sono sbagliata.
And I'm wrong. It isn't Papa, but it has his eyes. You tell me that is not freaky. You tell me that is not a freaky thing to imagine. Ooh! Ooh. And I am wrong. It isn't Papa, but it has his eyes.
Non è Papino, ma i suoi occhi. 24 aprile.
Yikes. Ooh. That's so scary to me. I'm sorry. That is the scariest fucking thought. So damn scary, guys. That is scaring the shit out of me to think about. Oh, 24th. I am scared of going into the box again. It made louder sounds. How did nobody find out she was on the boat at this point? Yesterday. While I gathered food, I think the men... Okay, that answers my question. Saw me. The box is the only place to hide.
Ho paura di entrare di nuovo nella scatola.
Poor
Ieri ho
child.
fatto
Oh
solo
my
per un
god.
oraggio.
The
Mentre
poor
cercavo per
child.
del cibo, credo che mamma mi abbia vista. La scatola è l'unico posto per nascondersi. Le corde continuano ad
Okay. The ropes keep being broken by the thing with Papa's eyes. I am scared that either it or the men will open my box.
essere letto da quella cosa con gli occhi di Papino. Ho paura che quella cosa...
I am scared that either it or the men will open my box. Okay, so she already said that. I will not write as much because I am afraid making noise. I will write again when I am on land, and if I'm not mistaken, she doesn't make it back to land.
Non scriverò più molto, perché ho paura di fare rumore. Scriverò nuovamente quando arriverò sulla terraferma. 29 aprile. La cosa...
Nope. Okay, I was wrong. 5 days later, she writes again. Insert. Do 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 do. 5 days later, she writes this. Do 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 do. The thing with Papa's eyes took me today. It held me as it ran through the jungle. Its sword cut hundreds of trees. And we'll get further on what exactly is going on in a second. It's not pretty. It's not pretty. I could not see much in the dark, but I did see Papa's eyes staring down at me from those metal eyelids. Imagining all of that freaks me out. Freaks me out. We went down a hole and into a deep cave. Deep cave. After it let me down on the ground, it started a fire by hitting its arms against rocks. You think that this thing has some sort of consciousness and recognizes Nina to some extent. Been sharpening its sword on the rocks for hours now, but it has not ever looked down at its blade. That's creepy. All creepy. Since I have started writing today, the thing with Papa's eyes has been looking at me. Yes. And that's the last thing we hear from Nina. And here's the captain's log. So we'll be, alrighty. Pop this in here. Freedom Faller. April 19th, 1858. Captain's log. 6 crates were loaded at dawn. They are heavy, each containing a part of a large sculpture. Inspector Zaffino told me that it is the goddess of freedom. And I'm going to do this. So that it goes a little bit faster. Oh, back. Right there. Okay. Backity back. Freedom. Each crate is fastened with ropes in the storage room. No sliding is possible. We left Livorno at noon. Alright. That's that one. That's that entry. So, 29th. I'm going to do this. I'm going to insert above there. Captain's log. Alright. Captain's log. Okay. Storage. we go. We landed in Gibraltar at dawn. The ship took hours to steer into port. There were many, many holes in the storage room. Each one allowed enormous amounts of water to enter. Can you guess why? Without the tar, we would have sunk in 3 days. Now, can you guess why there's a bunch of holes? Can you imagine? Can you imagine? We opened the crates for customs officers. That'll tell you why. The crates were empty. The Great Escape! Alright, let's poke my head over here. She has his eyes. Season 2 just wraps up a lot of Season 1. Also some cool stuff. Season 2 is more new things than Season 1 things. But the new things happen to wrap up Season 1 things. Gotta go. Sorry, I'll try to come for the next stream. Have a good one, Austin Leah. Thank you for coming in and giving me a little bit of help with putting stuff together. I'm gonna finish this up and then call it as soon as that's done. But thank you very much for coming by again. It's very much appreciated. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Ufficiali della dogana, le casse erano vuote.
Alright, that's the end of the captain's logs.
On morning of April 29th, we received news.
Alright, so there's more stuff. I'm gonna put this after. Put this after. Nina. And what was this again? This was Commissioner H. Morgan. Commissioner H. Morgan report. And this is when shit gets really bad, I think. Morning of the 29th. I'm gonna actually just put this in. And I'll leave it where it's at. I'll leave where it's at. We received numerous reports regarding a tremendous force that rushed up the rock.
On April 29th, we received numerous reports regarding a tremendous force that rushed up the rock, which tore down hundreds of trees.
Tore down hundreds of trees and created several landslides throughout the previous night. Okay, so this is like, I'll put 30. I'll just do that.
And created several landslides throughout the previous night. One civilian likened the phenomena.
One civilian likened the phenomena to the work of a gigantic, quote unquote, gigantic crazed faller. That, yeah, okay. Okay. Due to the sheer number of reports and high level of concern in the surrounding community, let's go back, let's make sure. Yep, okay. I deployed myself along with 13 officers to the rock in search of an explanation. We discovered that there was indeed a newly forged trail through the dense foliage, stretching almost the entire height of the rock. Yeah. The trail was astonishingly linear, with no bends in the path. Cuts to the trees themselves were precise. The downed trees continued to be warm to the touch. I don't know why that would be. Presumably due to the extreme speed of this force. Alright. A few fires present along the trail were extinguished by fellow officers as we traversed the rock. The path ended at a large crevice in the ground, which looked to be an entrance. I can't read. Hence to a large underground cavern. After requesting additional men and equipment, Officer Hadley descended into the crevice. And this is where things are gonna suck. Within the following hour, the majority of us were in the cavern, which appeared to be an undiscovered offshoot of St. Michael's Cave. I don't know what that is, but I'll have to look it up. In the middle of the location stood a plaster model of a tall Greco-Roman statue of a woman. Freedom. Surrounding this sculpture were displayed remains of an individual, flattened like a set of clothes. I wonder who that is. A hollowed out torso stretched a quarter of the way up the statue, the sight of which compelled a few of the officers to exit the cavern. If you haven't figured it out, Freedom is trying to wear the body of little Nina Crawford. You heard me. You heard me. Wearing her skin. Hi, I'm eating chicken nuggets. Hi, Matthew. Welcome. I'm glad you're enjoying your chicken nuggies. I like me some dino nuggies sometimes. Haven't had those in a while. Maybe I should. The human remains were collected and sent to the morgue, while the sculpture was cleaned and lifted out. The statue's blade held in its right hand matched the cuts present on the downed trees. Of course it does. Despite the fantastical implications of this detail, the Gibraltar police force officially concludes, and they're going to conclude wrong, they're going to conclude wrong, that the work of the crazed faller was nothing more than the result of heavy winds. Wow. That's dumb. That's dumb. That's dumb. During a secondary investigation, a journal was discovered in the cavern. It's little Nina's. A translation of its Italian text is in progress. That's it for that report. So basically what we found out is that liberties taken, the eyes of Mr. Crawford, killed him. Then when it found out that Nina Crawford had become a stowaway for the Monarcha, took her when they got to Gibraltar and went up the hill, or the rock, I guess it's called, laying out a trail with its sword, goes into the caves, which are an extension of, what do they call it? St. Michael's Cave. And then sharpened up its blade before ending the life of little Nina Crawford, skinning her alive, or skinning her at some point, and trying to use the skin on its own body. That's ouchies. That's yikes, my friends. That's yikes. Big ol' yikes. Okay, part 5, the Craftsman. We're more than halfway done with this thing.
Arrives the tight
I'm assuming this is when
wooden ship. The plaster body is absent. Instead, a tall, wounded woman sleeping in its vessel.
This is when it arrives at, I'm assuming, the U.S. The port in Gibraltar.
They tell me inside her is the plaster, and I walk away.
So I gotta look into when that exactly comes up.
Arrives the tight-knit wooden ship. The plaster body is absent. Instead, a tall, wounded woman sleeping in its vessel, donning a helmet wrapped in a robe, clutching a sword and a damaged shield. Overheard a conversation with the captain, a violent conflict with freedom at the port in Gibraltar. They tell me inside her is the plaster.
So I'm going to assume that sometime after I do this, I'm going to say sometime after, put 1858 in here somewhere. And I'm going to put freedom has a confrontation with the crew of the Monarcha. How is it spelled? It's somewhere in here. Right to her room. Monarcha. Yeah, I got it. Crew of the Monarcha. and arrives once brought back to the ship in Gibraltar. Right, Gibraltar. Yeah, Gibraltar. And skins them alive. Or skins them. Skins the crew. Multiple crew members. Returns to her crate, and when arriving at the US, is seen as a giant woman. Seen as, and hold on, I'm gonna go back.
Gibraltar. They tell me inside her is the plaster, and I walk away, silently believing Freedom craved liberation so terribly she tried to take it for herself. But off the ship, she was dragged away. Freedom locked up. Freedom in chains.
What did they call her? This end is described as follows. A tall, wounded woman with a damaged...
Wounded woman, sleeping in its
vessel.
Donning a helmet wrapped in a robe.
Donning a helmet wrapped in a robe.
Clutching a sword.
Clutching a sword and a damaged shield. Alright. Freedom craved liberation so terribly, she took it for herself. She tried to take it for herself. Tried to take it for herself. Freedom is dragged from the boat in chains.
Herself. But off the ship, she was dragged away. Freedom locked up. Freedom in chains. They tell me I have to take it out of her. So hook, rope, peel, and pull. When it was done, Freedom stood motionless. Freedom stood still. I see the final bronze woman, and I feel as if, maybe even hope, she's only dormant now, and will awaken again.
Chains and stripped of all the skin atop her bronze and plaster form before being placed atop the Capitol building. And she does! Sculpture. Thursday, January 6th, 1977. Is that what that says? I'm gonna assume 1977. Boop, 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 boop. Pop that here. That's what it looks like. January 6th, 1977. I'm gonna assume. Freedom Faller Monument. Pop this down here. January 6th, 1977. Freedom awakens again. After being shot down by ADA gunfire. This is so creepy. This is like one of the coolest things I've ever seen too. Like, okay, so it shows you she's gone. That's her being shot down. She falls. Attacks civilians. And here's the second video. And then I think that's it. That's definitely her looking at you. Oof. Building. And that's the end of the Monument Mythos Season 1. Wow, 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 wow. Now that we're done with that, we can move on to Season 2 next week. So I'll probably do the same time next week, if work stuff doesn't change. But look forward to that. We'll do probably first 3 to 4 videos of Season 2 of this, at that point. But for now, I'm going to leave you with a little outro music. And with that, sweet, sweet nightmares.
Bite me one time, bite me twice. Oh, ah, that's rather nice. Frankenstein, freaks and grunge, scream out loud, you're out of luck. Crime so beastly, can't get enough. Ooh, it's all psychotic love. I start to turn when all the streets are moving. I suck 'em dry and rip off all the skin bits. 'Cause freaky horror films, I'll always be a fan. From Nosferatu right up to Train to Busan. And what a beautiful werewolf queen we have inside it. To slice a path of hell with a foul death beside it. Spooky sounds, blood and brains, hunted down by the insane. Crime so beastly, can't get enough. Ooh, it's all psychotic love.